After months of tense negotiations, the atmosphere in the room was thick with anticipation and anxiety. Diplomats from various nations had gathered, hoping to reach a consensus that would benefit all parties involved. However, despite their best efforts, the talks have reached an impasse. Trade talks between the United States and several key trading partners have collapsed. The empty negotiation tables and abandoned documents tell a story of missed opportunities and unresolved conflicts. Diplomats leave the room, their faces etched with disappointment and concern for the future. The breakdown has sent shockwaves through the global economy. Stock markets around the world are reacting with volatility, as investors scramble to make sense of the new economic landscape. Financial analysts are working overtime, trying to predict the long-term impacts of this collapse. In response, the United States has imposed sweeping tariffs on a wide range of imported goods. These tariffs are not just numbers on a spreadsheet, they represent real challenges for businesses that rely on international trade. Customs officers are now tasked with enforcing these new regulations while factory workers face uncertainty about their jobs. This escalation of trade tensions has sparked fears of a global economic downturn. Business owners are worried about their financial futures as they pore over reports and try to make sense of the new economic reality. Consumers too are feeling the pinch, as prices for everyday goods begin to rise. Economists are in heated discussions, debating the potential long-term impacts of these trade policies. Businesses and consumers alike are bracing for the impact of a full-blown trade war. The sight of closed businesses and empty shopping baskets is becoming increasingly common. Trade districts that once bustled with activity are now eerily quiet, as customers stay away, uncertain about the future. The collapse of these talks represents a significant setback for the global economy. Financial districts, once the heartbeats of economic activity, are now seeing empty streets and closed trade centers. Economists are left to grapple with the implications as they try to navigate this new, uncertain terrain. For decades, the world has benefited from a system of free trade. Historical footage shows bustling trade ports and cargo ships being loaded, a testament to the prosperity that free trade has brought to global markets. This system has allowed for the efficient exchange of goods and services, fostering economic growth and development. The recent actions threaten to unravel this system and usher in an era of protectionism. Closed shipping docks and workers removing international trade signs are stark reminders of the potential consequences. Businesses with "closed due to tariffs" signs highlight the real-world impact of these policies. The world stands at a crossroads, facing the possibility of a future where protectionism replaces the free flow of trade that has driven global prosperity for so long. The trade talks were seen as crucial for resolving several long-standing disputes. At the heart of the negotiations were issues like intellectual property rights, government subsidies, and market access. The United States aimed to reduce its trade deficit and protect domestic industries from what it perceived as unfair competition. However, the United States' approach has been met with resistance from other countries. Many argue that the tariffs are protectionist and will harm the global economy. The failure to reach an agreement underscores the deep divisions that exist on international trade. The immediate impact of the tariffs has been felt across global markets. Investors are scrambling to reassess their portfolios, and the uncertainty has led to a significant sell-off in stocks. The ripple effects are being seen in every major financial hub, from New York to Tokyo, as market confidence takes a hit. Stock markets around the world have tumbled as investors react to the uncertainty. The volatility has been unprecedented, with some markets experiencing their worst days in years. Analysts are warning that this could be just the beginning of a prolonged period of instability, as the full impact of the tariffs is yet to be fully realized. The tariffs have also led to higher prices for consumers on a range of goods. Everyday items from groceries to electronics are becoming more expensive, squeezing household budgets. Consumers are feeling the pinch, and this could lead to reduced spending, further slowing down economic growth. Businesses are facing increased costs for raw materials and components. This is particularly challenging for manufacturers who rely on imported materials. The increased costs are being passed down the supply chain, affecting everything from production to retail prices. Companies are being forced to make tough decisions, including cutting jobs or reducing output. The automotive, technology, and agriculture sectors have been particularly hard hit. Car manufacturers are seeing a slowdown in production due to the higher costs of imported parts. Tech companies are grappling with increased expenses for components, which could lead to higher prices for consumers. Farmers are also feeling the strain, as tariffs on agricultural products disrupt their markets and lower crop prices. The tariffs have disrupted supply chains and created uncertainty for businesses. Delays at ports are causing bottlenecks, and empty shelves in warehouses are becoming a common sight. Companies are struggling to adapt to the new trade environment, and the uncertainty is making it difficult to plan for the future. The International Monetary Fund has warned that the tariffs could shave off a significant percentage of global economic growth. Economists are revising their forecasts downward, and there is growing concern that the tariffs could trigger a global recession. The IMF is calling for urgent action to resolve the trade disputes and stabilize the global economy. Section 4. Retaliation and countermeasures. The United States tariffs have been met with swift retaliation from its trading partners. The European Union, China, and Canada have all announced retaliatory tariffs on a range of U.S. goods. This tit-for-tat escalation of tariffs has heightened fears of a trade war. The tariffs have also strained diplomatic relations between the U.S. and its allies. The escalating trade war threatens to undermine decades of cooperation on trade and security. Section 5. A world divided. The specter of protectionism. In recent years, the global landscape has been increasingly marked by a retreat from the principles of free trade and open markets. The breakdown in trade talks and the imposition of tariffs are symptomatic of a broader shift towards protectionism. This shift is not just about economic policies but reflects deeper societal anxieties and political changes. There is a growing sentiment in many countries that globalization has failed to deliver on its promises. Many people feel left behind by the rapid changes and believe that the benefits of globalization have been unevenly distributed. This has led to calls for governments to protect domestic industries and jobs from foreign competition. Workers in traditional industries in particular have been vocal about the need for protectionist measures to safeguard their livelihoods. The rise of populism and nationalism has also contributed to the backlash against globalization. Political leaders have tapped into these sentiments, promising to restore national pride and economic security by prioritizing domestic interests. Leaders are increasingly appealing to nationalist sentiment and promising to put their own countries first, even if it means undermining global cooperation. This trend has significant implications for international relations and the global economy. Economists warn that protectionism can lead to trade wars, reduced economic growth, and higher prices for consumers. The long-term effects could be detrimental, not just for individual countries but for the global economy as a whole. Despite these challenges, there are still strong advocates for globalization who argue that international cooperation and trade are essential for economic prosperity and peace. They believe that with the right policies, the benefits of globalization can be more evenly shared. Moving forward, the challenge will be to find a balance between protecting domestic interests and embracing the opportunities that come with a connected world. Innovative solutions and inclusive policies will be key to addressing the concerns of those who feel left behind while fostering a more equitable global economy. Section 6. The long road to recovery. The long-term consequences of this trade war are difficult to predict with certainty. However, it is clear that the global economy is facing a period of prolonged uncertainty. The tariffs are likely to lead to slower economic growth, higher prices, and job losses. The trade war could also have a chilling effect on investment and innovation. Businesses may be reluctant to invest in new projects given the uncertain economic outlook. This could stifle innovation and harm long-term economic growth. Section 7. A glimmer of hope. Despite the current impasse, there is still hope that a resolution can be found. Some experts believe that the economic pain inflicted by the tariffs will eventually force the parties back to the negotiating table. Others argue that a new approach to trade is needed, one that addresses the concerns of all countries. Finding a solution will require political will and a commitment to dialogue. The stakes are high, as the future of the global economy hangs in the balance.